Before you call me a degenerate, allow me to explain myself. This anime is not what you think. Well, it is, but it also isn't. And that's why if you can handle all the filth and debauchery that ensues, then you are in for a great time. High School DxD is the perfect blend of unfiltered perversion and harem comedy. That's what makes this show so entertaining. It is able to balance different genres of all sizes, no matter how small or big, and they are perfectly symmetrical and round, and I'm veering off topic. Can't explain how that happened, but for some reason it's very easy to get distracted when engaging in the story of High School DxD. It does throw you off guard when you're focusing on the main narrative. And then straight out of the blue they start talking about the conflict between the devils and angels. I mean, do I really want to know about the lore of the Devil Kings and the House of Grimmery? Show me what I was promised and I will be on my merry way. Now if you're new to harem anime, welcome. I see you're a man or woman of culture, or you've just come to berate my perverted idiosyncrasies. Well, in that case, I still welcome you. It's going to be more difficult to convince you though. It will take more than 2 huge reasons to persuade someone as stubborn as you. The first thing I must emphasize is that this is a comedy. It is not taking itself seriously. I understand that an MC like Ise can be quite irritating and obnoxious. But if you can look past that and see it from the funny side, embrace the character's perversions and see how it goes against him for comedic circumstances, it's actually quite an amusing experience. Risque and edgy, yes, and that's what makes it unique. From start to finish, I was in a complete trance. There was a part of me that was saying, why? Just why are you watching this, you degenerate freak? But then I just shut that part of my conscience and embraced it for what it is. Every time a female character would take their top off, which is pretty much every female character, I was at first puzzled. I mean, they don't even build up to it. Straight from the first episode, they do not hold back. Everything is unfiltered. It was happening so suddenly. I just thought, give me a heads up before you take the 2 buns out. Let them bake in the oven a little longer, am I not wrong? But let's make one thing clear. One thing I am certainly not wrong about. Ise has won at life. He is one of the luckiest main characters in any anime. How he manages to beguile every woman in the show is beyond me. It's this aspect of High School DxD that makes it so fascinating. You just can't believe the amount of times Rias or Arcia expose themselves to this degenerate pervert. And what's even more incredible is that they know he is a pervert and continue to be infatuated by him. Where's the logic for this, writers? I mean, he's not an unlikable character. He does possess gentleman-like traits, showcasing chivalry in the face of danger and threat. Ise is always putting the women he cares about before him. It's the perverted nature of this character that balances the scales and makes him a flawed character. Yet simultaneously this makes him entertaining. Not fascinating, just entertaining. I should stress that High School DxD is not a deeply emotional show. When it does explore the more dramatic moments, it's not really that investing. The comedic debauchery mixed with angelic and demonic folklore is what intrigues me. But you know what I really appreciated about this anime? They didn't portray Ise as your typical indestructible hero who just happened to be the most powerful fighter from the start. Sure, he was chosen with an incredibly strong power from the Welsh Dragon Emperor, but he had to craft his talent. He was weaker, he still couldn't teleport like every other demon. There were many aspects of his powers that he couldn't fulfill. Just simple basic things. However, this man kept his head down and persisted. He never gave up and it paid off, which is surprisingly inspiring. I guess it shows that hard work means more than natural talent, and that's probably why I like Ise as a main character. With the perversion aside, but hey, I knew about that going in. Otherwise, I would never have watched this. His goal is to be the harem king, and I respect that. But my god, I did not expect it to become a reality so suddenly. I mean, every woman fell for him. Someone like Rias, a devil of the noble house Grimmery from the underworld, somehow develops intense feelings towards Ise. She is compassionate and kind, which is why Ise didn't die in the first place. But she has a fierce impulse to her that makes her commanding. And then you have someone as angelic and pure like Arcia, also possessing kind and selfless attributes. Both of these characters are different to each other, yet in the presence of Ise, their personalities change to desires of lust. I guess it makes sense since they are all devils, and giving in to these quote-unquote sinful desires does make sense. But the Harem King plan expands, with the likes of Akino and Zenobia, who again are completely different in personality and are sexually attracted to Ise. I mean, from a guy's point of view, it's very frustrating seeing Ise kind of squander every moment he gets when confronted with the actual deed. lead. He's constantly making a farce out of everything and really messes things up in season 4. He ends up being all talk and no walk. He's very indecisive, and even when he gets to first and second base, he still decides to perv on other women in his high school with his two equally perverted friends. The one devil who sees through Issei is Koneko. She has a cold and quiet personality. Her reserved nature allows her to see the bigger picture of Issei's true intentions. It's great because it adds conflict to the story and shows that Issei can't have it all without being bitten back. For me personally, I preferred the characters of Rias and Koneko. For me, Koneko presented a more realistic approach in warming up to Issei. It was cute to see how their relationship blossomed over the course of the 4 seasons. Continuing on the topic of High School DxD and the undeniable element of perversion that defines much of the show's appeal, we have to acknowledge that this anime is, at its core, unapologetically ecchi. It doesn't shy away from pushing boundaries and delivering fan service in a way that might make even seasoned anime viewers blush. But beyond the overtly sexual content lies a blend of humor, action, and an evolving narrative that manages to keep you hooked in unexpected ways. Well, it's easy to assume the only reason to watch High School DxD is for the endless parade of half-naked characters. There are deeper reasons why people continue to flock to harem anime, especially ones like this, and why some feel ashamed admitting they enjoy it. Let's not pretend High School DxD is a masterclass in fan service, taking every opportunity to flaunt its ecchi nature. Every episode without fail seems to find a way to squeeze in some level of nudity or suggestive content, whether it's Rias Grimry's omnipresent assets, or the cast of female characters constantly losing articles over clothing for no reason whatsoever. But there's more at play here than just titillation. The show's comedic timing, often involving Issei's over-the-top reactions and antics, is key to its tone. Yes, the perversion is blatant, but it's also so exaggerated that it becomes a running gag, part of the absurdity that gives the show its character. It's hard to deny the almost slapstick nature of how these moments unfold. Issei's bumbling, sexually charged personality constantly places him in compromising situations, only to end in a punchline or an embarrassing retreat. His behaviour, while overtly perverted, isn't meant to be emulated. It's a reflection of how he's often his own worst enemy. It's this blend of raunchy comedy and tongue-in-cheek writing that makes the fan service tolerable for many viewers, sometimes even endearing in a bizarre sense. In fact, the show is aware of its absurdity and often plays into it. This self-awareness separates it from more exploitative anime, as High School DxD isn't trying to make you take it seriously. So why should you watch High School DxD beyond its sexual nature? For one, the show actually has a lot going for in terms of narrative and character development. The lore involving devils, angels, fallen angels, and dragon emperors is surprisingly rich and well constructed. As the series progresses, you'll find yourself genuinely intrigued by the world building, the power struggles between supernatural factions, and the evolving mythology that adds layers to the story. Issei himself, despite being a walking stereotype of a perverted loser, goes through significant growth. While his initial goal of becoming the harem king is laughable and shallow, over time you see a deeper sense of loyalty and compassion emerge. Issei learns the importance of protecting those he cares about, and his gradual rise in strength comes not just from raw power, but from his dedication and willingness to put others first. This theme of perseverance, of working hard to gain strength despite one's natural shortcomings, adds a layer of relatability to his character, making him more than just a caricature of male fantasy. In terms of action, the show does actually deliver exciting battles that balance well with its comedic and ecchi elements. The combat scenes aren't overly complex, but they are well animated and often come with emotional stakes, which gives the fights a surprising amount of gravity, whether it's a battle between high-ranking devils or a clash involving heavenly powers. The action is fast-paced and keeps you engaged. Harem anime as a genre thrives on wish fulfillment. The idea of an ordinary or seemingly ordinary male protagonist being surrounded by multiple love interests is a fantasy that resonates with a lot of people. Whether it's the appeal of being desired or the comedy that comes from balancing romantic chaos, harem anime offers a light-hearted escape. The genre doesn't typically aim for depth, but focuses on the amusing and often ridiculous situations the protagonist finds themselves in. In the case of High School DxD, the harem aspect is in full swing, the female characters all possessing distinct personalities, from the commanding Rias to the shy and gentle Arcia, offer different flavors of interaction, making it easy for viewers to choose a favourite. It's this variety and the constant tug-of-war for Issei's attention that keeps the show's energy flowing. ensuring that each episode delivers some form of comedic tension. But beyond the surface, harem anime speaks to broader themes of acceptance and validation. For a protagonist like Issei, who starts off as a loser with no prospects, the affection of so many powerful and beautiful women represents a kind of redemption. It's not just about sexual attraction, it's about feeling valued and finding a place where you belong, even if the premise is exaggerated. There's a human desire at the core of these shows, the need to feel wanted, to feel like you're special in a world that often tells you otherwise. There's a certain stigma attached to watching shows like High School DxD. The sexual content makes it an easy target for criticism, especially for those who aren't familiar with anime or the nuances of the ecchi and harem genres. It's easy to dismiss the show as nothing but softcore pornography masquerading as a story. And to be fair, some of its content can make even die-hard fans cringe at times. But the shame people feel about watching High School DxD often stems from the misunderstanding that shows with sexual content can't have substance. In reality, while the ecchi elements are front and center, they don't completely define the show. Many fans are drawn to High School DxD for its humor, its character development, and the action-packed supernatural battles. However, the exaggerated sexual nature makes it difficult to recommend to others without feeling judged or misunderstood. High School DxD is the epitome of guilty pleasure. It's a show that delivers on fan service in spades, but also surprises with its storytelling, character growth, and moments of genuine emotion. The perversion is ever present, but if you can look beyond the surface, there's a genuinely entertaining story to be found. Harem anime like this appeals to our desire for fantasy, acceptance, and humor, even if we're hesitant to admit it. So if you're willing to embrace the absurdity, the lewdness, and the occasional eye-roll inducing moment, you'll find yourself watching High School DxD not just for its two huge reasons, but for its story, characters, and, dare I say, its charm.